So day 4, welcome. It is July 17th, I think. I don't really know. Sorry, I'm kind of like gross today. I really didn't want to try. And yeah, it's been a weird long day, but also very good because I found out I got a job, but I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to be talking about licensure and Wisconsin licensure and California licensure, and you can also see the ring light that I use. There it is, right there in my eyes. Yeah, so I'm going to be talking about the process of licensure, how it works, how I found out that the California state in general is different, and that process as well, because that was kind of a pain in the ass to find out. But okay, so I'm going to start from the beginning in just a second. Okay, so to start the licensure process, there's a lot that you have to do, and like if you're an ed major in Wisconsin, they kind of help you through it a lot. There's a lot of different steps that you have to do. Sorry if I look down, I'm looking at my notes because I can't even remember what I'm gonna say today. That's a joke, but I don't remember all the steps because I didn't have to do all of them, so it's really nice. Some of the steps include doing your ed founds, so your educational foundations, which were 3 classes at the beginning of the process that I actually took later than I was supposed to because if you'll remember, my advisors were kind of awful, and they didn't know what they were doing. So none of my advisors actually told me that I had to take the ed founds as a block. And yeah, I found that out the hard way when I tried to sign up for classes, and I couldn't because my advisors never told me I needed it like as a block and that it had to be assigned by somebody. So yeah. Okay, so you need to do that, and then there's also some tests that you have to take. The Praxis 1 and 2, the first one you're supposed to technically do before you get accepted into the College of Ed, but my ACT score was high enough, so I did not have to take the first one. And then I actually got really lucky and didn't have to take the second one either, even though I kind of wish I would have because I feel like I would have had a better grip on everything that I needed to know as an English teacher. So Praxis 2 is the one that's specific for what you're going to be teaching. So I would have had to take an English test, but I did not because my GPA was high enough because they changed that rule just in time, and my GPA was high enough throughout college that I did not have to do that. So I got to skip that test as well. Okay, so Praxis 1 and 2, so then you go through all of your other education classes and you do the rest of your English classes. So like the last year besides like my 4th year, my actual senior year was a bunch of English classes because you have to get all of those done before you can do your field study and your student teaching. And again, didn't know this because of my professors, my advisors were not great at all about that, so I just kind of like picked my own classes and figured out what I needed to do. And then they also got rid of 3 of the English classes that I needed for my major, and they didn't tell me. So a bunch of other English majors had the same problem, and we had to I like had to go to the dean of the English like department and be like, hey, what classes can I take because you took these classes out and failed to tell everybody that you took them out, so what can I do? And then like I said, I went to the dean and they were like, well, we're just gonna have to find other classes for you. And I was like, that's fine, whatever. So then I did my field study first semester of last year, my last year, my 5th year. And I did that at a middle school so that I could student teach in high school because high school is the grades that I wanted to teach. Originally, I thought that. So I did my middle school at Elkhorn Area Middle, which was an absolute blast. I had so much fun, and during that process you also do a practice EdTPA, and the EdTPA stands for the Educational Teaching Performance Assessment, and it's literally hell. I don't care what anyone tells you, it's not easy, it's the worst process ever, but I'll talk about that in like 5 seconds. Okay, so the EdTPA, it is a 4-step process. I like literally had to think about what it was because it gave me so much trauma. Like, it was awful. So the first step is the planning. The second step is 3 steps, not 4 steps. The first step is planning, second step is actually doing it, and third step is assessing. So like you have to plan a 3 to 5 day lesson, and then you have to teach the 3 to 5 day lesson, and then you have to assess them on what they learned during that 3 to 5 day lesson. And while we were doing our field study, they told us all of this. Like, I feel like up until that point, I literally had no idea what it was because they did not prepare me at all. And then the field study semester was really nice because it gave us a chance to practice it before we actually had to do it and turn it in, because it was crazy. So that was ridiculous. Okay, so then the real EdTPA is like, I feel like all of the stuff that we learned in the semester before about the practice did not apply at all. So like I went to a seminar, which I would highly recommend if you go to Whitewater. There's a seminar you can take during your student teaching. You should absolutely do that because I feel like some of the stuff I got told in my practice semester was not the same as the stuff they told me to do in the actual EdTPA. So there were a few things that I did during the practice that would have disqualified me from becoming a teacher, which was absolutely batshit crazy, but whatever. So EdTPA, awful process. I'm gonna dedicate an entire video to that, so I'm not gonna talk about it too much because the EdTPA is literally just hell. It's the most traumatic and stressful experience of my entire life. And that's saying something because I got married and moved across the country. Okay, so EdTPA 1 and 2, my advisors didn't know anything. And then one final thing that I want to talk about today is finding out that my licensure would not transfer. So if you have somehow missed this, moved to California with my husband, Aiden. So weird to call him that, but we didn't know we'd be moving here because Aiden's in the military, and I'm not going to be talking about that, but I am going to be talking about the fact that we moved to California. So my last semester of college, while I was student teaching, we found out we were going to be moving here. And the semester before that, so my first semester of my last year of college, my 5th year, I was in one of my classes preparing for the EdTPA, and we were talking about different licensures, and we were talking about different states and all that kind of stuff. And they mentioned offhand, they were like, oh yeah, so one of the states where your license won't transfer is California. And I was like, okay, not a big deal, whatever, that's only one of the places we might get sent, it's not really gonna happen. We don't know for sure yet, and it was kind of just holding it up in the air of whether or not we would be here. And then I found out that we would be here, and I was like, wait, I think I remember them saying it's not gonna transfer. And I was like, oh my God, this is 5 years of work that I've put in and it's not gonna transfer. So sure enough, I looked it up, and I have an ELA license, which is an English language arts license. And in California, you need an ELL, which is English Language Learner's License. And so, needless to say, I was pretty upset about that, and I still am. But as of right now, I am not going to be working on getting my license here because we might only be here for a year, which is another thing that I'll maybe talk about later if you're interested. That's all I have time for today. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you did get this far, please leave a comment so I know that you're actually watching, because if nobody's watching, I might not keep doing this, or I might, but it's really interesting to see who actually is watching along. So thanks, leave a comment, send a like, yeet, love you guys, bye.